To me, Black History Month is something that comes around every single year in October. And we know that it's a time where we celebrate the contributions of Black Britons to society. And every year, the same kind of questions tend to arise. You know, we ask about why are we celebrating Black History Month? More frustratingly, people ask, why is there a Black History Month if there is no White History Month? And more crucially, there's a question about whether or not we need to move beyond Black History Month. And for me, this is really, really quite a pertinent question because throughout the summer, we have seen a wave of protests against police brutality.
I come here today in solidarity with all my brothers and sisters in the States who've been under racist oppression for 400 years. It's still going on today. And we're here for George Floyd, for Tamir Rice, for Trayvon Martin, for Eric Garner. We're for everyone.
We have seen posts on Instagram, posts on Twitter, on TikTok. We have seen black squares pop up across social media platforms and many more tokenistic gestures from big businesses. And all of this tells us that we are in no position to move beyond Black History Month in Britain, because at this very moment in time, we are still facing many, many issues of racism.
I need you guys to understand. I need you to understand how painful this is. I need you to understand how painful it is to be reminded every day that your race means nothing. And that isn't the case anymore.
Government needs to do far more in terms of creating social cohesion between, the different groups within our society. One of the problems that we've had over the past couple of years is the issue of Brexit. And we have seen that not only racism and xenophobia has risen within the country, but we've also seen a lot of issues of racism against Black people within the country, despite the fact that there is nothing to do with Brexit. I think one of the things that is most frustrating for me at the moment in terms of racism within Britain is police brutality. We've seen a number of different cases from Bianca Williams, who was a great British athlete, and she and her partner were stopped and searched. She was removed from her 3-month-old baby. And this was terrible. The response that we had from the police in regards to that investigation, why they were stopped, for what means. And it's clear that there is an act of discrimination here, because I don't believe that other people, if they were not Black, would be treated within the same regard.
You're going to behave yourself. I ain't done anything wrong. There we go. Get off my neck. Stay down, stay calm. Stay calm.
I also think that for me personally, my own experiences with the police have made me feel quite uncomfortable in terms of even approaching the police for general help that I would need. I remember when I was young, when I was about 14, 15 years old, I was stopped and searched by the police with a group of friends when we were coming back from our training session. And we were accused of stealing trainers, although of course we had a number of different trainers within our bags because we were going to training, because we ran on the athletics track, so it made sense. But that kind of pressure that a lot of young people across the UK, a lot of young Black people feel pressured when they are coming into contact with the police is another issue that we need to deal with. I studied race, media, and social justice at Goldsmiths with the intention of understanding a little bit more about the wider media landscape. I wanted to know, what are the issues that are affecting people who are racialized within society. I wanted to understand what the media was doing to engage Black people, what the media was doing to engage groups of people who are from diverse backgrounds, and how that can influence the type of media and the ways in which Black people are portrayed within TV, within books, within films, within news articles, whatever it is. And one of the things that's quite interesting to learn is that it's not necessarily about just filling organizations with loads of Black people. Just because there are lots of people from diverse backgrounds within an organization, that doesn't necessarily mean that the content that's produced is necessarily going to be diverse or going to be well representative of that particular group. What needs to happen is that companies need to think about their internal processes and, you know, what other things might be holding back particular groups in terms of how they're represented. We need to think about all kinds of things, such as formatting in the publishing industry. What do these book covers look like? Do we see within these book covers that it's particular kind of portrayal of the same images? For example, we learned that a lot of books that are written about the continent of Africa tend to have the exact same front covers. It's always a warm reddish glow with some kind of tree in the background. And these kinds of images, they perpetuate the stereotypes that we then see play out in interactions in the day-to-day, because at the end of the day, media is incredibly important because it gives people an opportunity to see into what life could be like in terms of these different interactions between different groups. And so if you portray a group in a particular way, it means that the people who are sitting at home behind the screen are going to believe in some ways and think that these portrayals are accurate.
You weren't English. No, I'm not. No, you weren't English either. You weren't English.
There are sometimes MPs and people who are in positions of power who are Black, who are able to, you know, access certain places, but across the board within the UK, there are a lot of people who are unaware of the day-to-day microaggressions and macroaggressions that people face when they are in their place of work, when they are in the gym, when they are using public transport. These microaggressions occur throughout someone's experience as a Black person, depending on the different spaces that they enter. And also, it's a question of intersectionality. So thinking about the different levels of oppression that someone might face due to their background. So that's whether someone could face discrimination due to their sexuality, due to their ability, due to their economic and socioeconomic background as well. All of these things then add up. And so it's really important when we are thinking about questions of race and issues of racism to reflect on the particular individual and the layers of oppression or racism and sexism and homophobia that someone might experience. It's really important that people support independent media groups because more often than not, these are the spaces that people from diverse backgrounds are actually able to openly express their opinions, their views, and really dig into the subjects that they want to without feeling like they've been placed into boxes. So support independent media organizations such as The Canary, such as my own podcast, all of these different smaller groups are creating media that is exciting, that is interesting, and that everyone should engage with and send to all of their friends, because supporting us is going to make a difference in terms of the stories that we are able to hear.